Have you ever wondered why even the deepest, most affectionate romantic bonds can suddenly spiral into exhausting, repetitive arguments that drag on for decades? Imagine standing at the threshold of a completely different reality, one where you could permanently resolve a deeply rooted disagreement with the person you love in less than half an hour, entirely free of unnecessary fuss and emotional drama. The profound and far-reaching possibilities for your daily life are truly staggering. If couples could universally master constructive conflict resolution within the domestic sphere, the positive ripple effects would extend far beyond the immediate boundaries of the living room. National divorce rates would naturally decline, children would grow up in significantly more stable and harmonious environments, and the heavy societal burdens stemming from broken homes, such as high school dropouts, teenage substance abuse, gang affiliation, juvenile incarceration, homelessness, and the soaring demand for specialized social services, would substantially diminish. Furthermore, when individuals experience genuine psychological peace and emotional stability in their personal lives, that inner equilibrium translates directly into the professional realm, dramatically boosting corporate morale, collaboration, and overall productivity nationwide and around the globe. Yet, despite these immense stakes and the exorbitant emotional cost of perpetual discord, millions of couples remain hopelessly trapped in vicious, cyclical arguments that stubbornly persist for 10, 20, or even 60 years. Extensive observational data reveals a startling and counterintuitive truth. These seemingly intractable disputes can be successfully resolved in an average of under 26 minutes when approached through a structured, highly disciplined framework. The ultimate secret does not lie in passively avoiding conflict altogether, which only breeds resentment, but rather in fundamentally altering the underlying mechanics of how couples communicate during a heated disagreement. The entire transformation commences with a few essential ground rules specifically designed to eradicate emotional volatility. First, partners must mutually agree to isolate a single highly specific issue rather than allowing the conversation to spiral into a chaotic, destructive rehashing of historical grievances. Once this core topic is accurately identified, it must be distilled into a clear, precise yes or no question. For instance, a remarkably common and sensitive point of friction in many relationships might be framed around whether one partner should initiate intimacy more frequently. Instead of immediately launching into a volatile verbal debate driven by raw impulse, both individuals must pause to engage in independent, contemplative writing. Each person sits down to write out the comprehensive details, underlying reasons, and concrete evidence supporting their respective stance purely on paper. This crucial writing phase serves a vital psychological function. It drastically decelerates the communication process and gives both partners adequate time to think critically and formulate thoughtful perspectives. Empirical observation demonstrates that when people articulate their grievances in writing rather than shouting impulsively, profanity and harsh verbal attacks virtually disappear from the equation. Putting complex thoughts on paper naturally filters out excessive hostility, replacing immediate emotional reactivity with measured, objective reflection. Once these details are thoroughly documented, the structured verbal discussion can finally commence. Rather than overwhelming themselves by tackling everything simultaneously, the couple must focus on the issue one granular detail at a time, starting with the most significant point. As one partner reads their primary detail aloud, the listener must execute two critical, non-negotiable steps. First, the listener must accurately repeat back what they believe the speaker meant using entirely their own words, strictly avoiding any interruption, rebuttal, or premature debate. Second, the listener must explicitly ask a clarifying question to ensure absolute cognitive alignment. This sophisticated technique triggers a profound psychological shift. If the paraphrase accurately captures the speaker's core intent, the speaker confirms with a simple affirmation. This vital confirmation allows the speaker to finally feel genuinely heard, validated, and deeply respected. Only after achieving this essential mutual validation can the respondent reply constructively. Crucially, the respondent is now reacting precisely to what the partner actually meant, rather than fighting against the distorted assumptions and defensive projections accumulated inside their own head. As the conversation proceeds methodically through the remaining details one by one, defensive barriers begin to crumble away. Because neither person is engaging in personal attacks or defensive countermaneuvers, Both individuals experience a rare and reassuring sense of emotional safety. The traditional, toxic dynamic of a destructive argument, where each person fights aggressively to win, inevitably forcing the other partner to lose, is entirely dismantled. Instead, an overarching rule of engagement is firmly established. The relationship itself must win, or both parties ultimately lose. By replacing knee-jerk emotional reactions with deliberate, written processing and disciplined active listening, couples can unlock a completely revolutionary paradigm of communication. Disagreements that have deeply fractured relationships for decades can be successfully untangled in mere minutes. When you learn to listen not merely to craft your next clever rebuttal, but to truly understand your partner's core perspective, you remove unnecessary drama from your relationship once and for all. Ultimately, mastering this simple yet extraordinarily powerful approach demonstrates that peaceful, lasting human connection is entirely within our grasp if we simply choose to change how we talk, listen, and understand one another. Like and subscribe for more cognitive insights. Have a nice day.